Save this.
Yeehaw. We are live.
How do I make it go?
I don't know.
Just waiting for you. Do I refresh?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's latency built into it, so.
Has
Not
everybody
this
got a
much.
cup of
Jeez.
coffee?
Coffee.
Got my water.
I don't think you want to be drinking coffee on a live stream. Just saying.
I see 0 problems.
Did I go to the wrong link?
You might
What
have.
is this?
Or I could have connected to the wrong link.
Somebody's in the chat. Where is anybody else seeing Tim? Look, we're gonna have 10 minutes now of us trying to figure out which stream we're in.
No.
Oh, okay. The one I dropped is the one that you had. I dropped in the CAD chat was the one that you posted in MMX community earlier. Yeah. Yeah. Ending in a big M.
Well, I should probably just go to my my YouTube page and see if I'm streaming. It's going to be very Inception-ish.
Okay, now I'm gonna do that.
Oh yeah, it shows that we're live. We're all good. Oh yeah, it shows that we're live. We're all
Oh
good.
yeah. So that's a different link.
Oh yeah.
So what was the link that you gave? Oh yeah. So that's a different link.
Oh yeah.
So what was the link that you gave?
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
the Inception. I don't know if you guys were hearing that, but that was driving me nuts. Woo!
So I should drop this link in the chat then because
Probably.
Yeah. Alright, I'll do that.
So yeah.
All right, so we
Fix
have
pathways.
Obviously for the people watching this, we have Maureen, project manager extraordinaire, my COO.
Hello.
In this project. We also have David Lewis and Eric. Eric, what's your last name?
No.
Forcell.
Oh, there we
Don't
go.
force people.
Oh, it's not like Eric. What is your social security number there in the Netherlands?
What's your Netherlands?
Where are you? Sweden? Oh, yeah, you're in Sweden, aren't you?
Oh,
I
Tim.
am fed up with you, man.
How easily can I offend everybody? Let's see.
Go on.
Well, I know how I'm gonna offend David Lewis.
How's that?
We are dealing with a lot of Imperial units today.
Nice.
Nice.
It's like my main gripe so far about this this project is that lots of Imperial units. But we'll get into that. So we're going to dive into the the paper music box project that we have here. And talk a little bit about the SolidWorks part of it, do some design, deal with some Imperial units, and if we want to be talking about the variable height adjustment ideas that are buzzing on the Winter Garden Discord, I'm okay with this is ADHD engineering, so if we get distracted by another more interesting topic, I say we go with it. So. That's my disclaimer.
We're gonna.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, if that's what people are engaged with, then that's what it is. Now, the one thing that I feel a need to, I don't know, maybe if it's complain about or ask for help about, but what I can't.
Probably both.
Yeah, probably both. So here in the platform. So we have this 3D space, right? And I've uploaded a bunch of like the drawing from the music box, right? And then we have this CAD. I uploaded a bunch of stuff, right? So the 3D experience thing, right? They allow you to upload a bunch of media, but there's also a 3D drive, right? In 3D, in 3D experience,
and I don't know if either of those are actually the right place to do it. I think that I think there's a better place. I just can't remember what it's called.
Well, so here, like I downloaded some of the parts we're going to use for this music box from McMaster Car, right? So we have the drive pulleys, timing belts, that kind of stuff. I put them here because I can't upload a SolidWorks part into the 3D experience thing, right? But these don't show up really anywhere. If I go to the music box project, that I see these guys that I uploaded, but we're gonna go on at least this here. This is the dashboard that I made, and I don't know if I'm doing this right, but what I definitely do know is that I don't totally understand the hierarchy here. So
yeah. So those are those. What I understand is each one of those is a separate dashboard, right?
yeah,
Or
but you'll see now. Here's the question: is how do I find the files we works on? So Music Box CAD, is this the one? No, that's the one that Andrea made.
there are CAD files in the files.
Here we go. This is loading more. So I'm just trying to grab the Music Box stream idea. And this doesn't show, it's a CAD family. Oh, that's another question. Is with SolidWorks, there's like, you get parts. Huh.
It's still out for me.
Really? So that's okay. I thought I'd fix that. I had a network cable that had a little retention clip that goes into your the back end of your computer.
Yep.
I had one that was missing that, and I replaced it, and I thought that I had fixed that issue. Maybe it's just my internet.
It was, yeah, maybe.
Right.
The nice high-speed one is being chewed on by ground squirrels.
Big ground squirrels chewing through my fiber optic cable.
Awesome.
All right, let me see if I can get the people in the other room to come to this room. Give me a sec.
So again, with 3D Experience, this whole recent documents thing is basically like you can write that off. Like these things up here, new part, new assembly, those work, but anything beyond that doesn't really work.
Yeah, so if you look at the top of your screen, you'll notice it hasn't populated yet your actual collaborative space yet. It's still just like it's like a little silhouette of right there.
Up here.
So until that populates, you're not going to see anything in the recent documents that's usable.
Oh,
it takes a minute too.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, because here I just tried to. Oh, you're
there
right. I didn't do it. So patience. So patience is a tactic that we need to be playing with. That's new to me. All right, so I made this offline between last week and this week, and then I also want to pull out, I believe this one, and it's weird that you have to open the files from the. Oh, you know what? It's asking me to log in. I've already logged in.
You don't actually need to do that anymore. Once you've got SolidWorks Connected open and you have your collaborative space finally loaded, you can open right from SolidWorks after that.
But it takes some time.
I mean, only until you've loaded that collaborative space. Once you did, you could press that, that arrow that is an open document. It's like, and it'll open up your collaborative space documents right in there. You don't have to do it from the.
Oh, so that's good to know, because this is the file management question. And again, for the Marble Machine touring version, right? We're dealing with how many unique parts do we have, David? It's like 4,000, something like that.
I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah. That having a flat file structure is not going to work for that. So we do need to get a handle on this. But let's say I have this assembly, right? I have an assembly sketch here, which I can't see at the moment. But, we have one part in here. If I wanted to insert a component, right, I can insert the paper pulling mechanism because I have that open in its own window over here, right? And I've saved it, right? So it's in this little open documents box, right? So putting that in is no problem. But like I purposefully left the bringing in the timing belt pulleys that go with this for today because I wanted to show this, right? So if I hit insert components and I hit browse, you saw that I had I'm going to bring the dialog into this window. I had uploaded these part files. They're SolidWorks parts, that I downloaded from McMaster, and they are nowhere to be found. And by the way, if you look at these things, so the things that I had done I have a personal project, an Inventopia project, right? Because I've been designing tables and stuff. That's kind of like my practice things. Those are all here, right? So if let's say if this is a project that we're all working on, I'm going to be all these things that I thought I kept separate in my Inventopia co-working tables project that I wanted to keep separate from the Marble Machine project because this has nothing to do with it. They're still showing up here in this file.
Well, they're probably not in this project. Is that just finding anything that's on your hard drive? No.
None of it's on the hard drive, right? And
right.
so, and when I designed those, I created my own 3D space, which was Inventopia, for the stuff for my incubator, and selected it up here. So I if you look on the platform, right, which I can get to here. If you look on the platform, I have, this is the one of the various things that I'm building. These are tables I'm building for my incubator, right? That's fine. It's all in its own thing. But when I'm pulling it up here and I'm trying to, anyway, figuring out how we manage this is like next step, I think, for me, in terms of, this is like the biggest issue we need to
I get it,
drill into and understand, because this is not going to work when we're dealing with 2,000 parts for the Marble Machine.
Do you want me to be taking notes on this of questions that we need answered, or are you already doing that?
Well, I don't think I can stream and take notes.
No, I mean, did you already start a document or something?
Well, no. So we have the notepads that are in the platform that we've been dealing with.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so I'm gonna open that up, and that I couldn't remember where it was, so I'll open that up right now.
Yeah, it was in the MMXT project, and then we have the web notes right here.
So there's a comment on YouTube right now from Tom Quinn. It says, "What's in the arrow where it says SolidWorks content? Maybe you can tell us to only look in certain projects there."
Let me look. The arrow that says SolidWorks content here.
Above that. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a delay from where I'm seeing your mouse.
Yeah, no, there is nothing. There's nothing there. But here, you could do advanced search. Well, either way, right? All of these things. Oh, that's interesting. How do I get out of that? Regular search. I'm going to close this. The parts, when I was doing this before, looking for the ball bearings, I put these ball bearings in here, right? The only way I got those to show up was by coming into the platform over here, going into the 3D, the 3D drive, and then here's a timing pulley, right? Opening this, open with SolidWorks connected, letting it open, and then saving it, and then it was available for insertion into the model.
Okay, I mean, I see what you're doing, and I just wonder, let me just throw this out there. Have you tried dragging it into the other dashboard?
Ooh.
Or the other
you mean within the platform?
Heading of that dashboard? Yeah. Like where, sorry, there's a delay on YouTube, so I'm not really. Okay, but okay, so you've highlighted a part. If you were to drag it up into files, would that not? No,
I mean, I like the way you're thinking, David, but no.
No, look, I see that. You're right. It doesn't. That's bizarre.
Hey, you got 5 points for a creative thought. I mean, either way, right now it's I don't know. Is this the one that I just?
And there's no move command from there.
I didn't see it. This is for
move to. I see it right there.
Hold on a second. I have to go back now. Move to. That's still within this 3D drive.
Okay, so I get it now. You're right.
It's not off this.
Sorry, I'm just spitballing here.
So understanding like what the silos are you know, like between 3D Drive, between the 3D space, and I mean, I'm sure somebody thought through this this thing, right? There are people, there are you know, for-profit profitable companies that are dealing with this, and it works for them, I'm sure. So this is a question maybe for Sean O'Neill or for Amos or somebody like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I have the 3D experience loaded up. Where did we start that list before? That's not in the web notes? Is it?
Yeah, it's in the web notes. There's two things in the web notes.
Not in the design requirements, right?
It's under files. Oh, you're right. It's not there. I don't know where we put it.
Okay, I'm gonna make a new one.
No, it's under team chat.
Team chat. Oh.
It should be. I thought. Maybe it's not. Oh, look, platform notes. It's in this other dashboard. So Music Box project dashboard. It's there. So different, so, right? So because I was trying to keep this project having its own dashboard, right? So yeah, so that's where it is. All right, so let's get back to this. So here I have two different parts, and they're off by these numbers. So this is 450. I also have to open 540, which again I'm going to find here. Bear with me. 540. Open this with SolidWorks connected. So now I have a bunch of SolidWorks here. So again, if you look at here, I'm going to close out of this. Insert components. The open, oops. The open file. That's not the one I want either. The ones that are open don't show up here. You have to open them and then save them. So let me open this guy. If I save this, then it also shows up in the other place. It shows up in the 3D space. So when I do stuff here with the 3D drive and I upload stuff here, until I open it with SolidWorks and save it, then it will show up in the 3D space. Yeah. Anyway, it's just how it is. So that's what happened. I downloaded these ball bearings from McMaster-Carr. And why I have 3 copies of them, I don't know. That's kind of annoying. Getting rid of the multiple copies would be an interesting thing to learn about. But anyway, let's move on to actually designing parts. Huh?
Well, hold on, because I mean, I'm still trying to get used to the 3D experience. I'm over in the Music Box dashboard. I'm not seeing the notes in there, and I just want to make sure I'm seeing the same dashboards that you're seeing.
Yeah.
To make sure everything was shared with me.
Yeah, so Music Box dashboard project. If I can go to...
I don't see any of those top files and
media.
Picture notes and chat. I don't see any of that.
Okay.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I'm just going to make notes locally and we can upload them later.
Okay. Yeah, there should be a way of sharing this thing, right? I should be able to...
Oh yeah, I'm not seeing Music Box project dashboard. I think if you go in up at the top, see in the blue line, the other blue line, but that says Music Box project dashboard with a little drop down chevron. Up. I know there's a lag, so it's up at the top.
Yeah, you would think I would be able to
so share. It's the there's the share there. Okay.
So this is Dream Team. I can share it to everybody. Drem, if it helps to and this is another thing, right? So see these people that's populating? I don't know these people. It's asking me to share it with like random people all the way across the people. It's not giving me MMX. There's no like, it doesn't, here we go. MMXT Dream Team. And now I can share it. The fact that it like auto populates with people who are outside of your organization is, as my son would
Yeah,
say,
that's a little weird.
it's sus. That's what he would
I
say.
think yours. I mean, this is designed so you could pull from the entire SolidWorks community for help on
Right.
your project.
Right.
I don't think.
But I don't
Well,
like
I
those
don't know.
people.
I guess we could be going that way. So
All
I
right.
don't see the thing. I don't know how to get it. It hasn't been shared. Maybe I need to refresh.
Okay.
All right, carry on.
Yeah. So now, see, I've saved this timing pulley, and now it's actually here in these open documents that I can add. So, and then we can, do the things that SolidWorks does really well, which is doing mates that are easy to work with, and all that stuff. Love it.
You're saying joints from F360 don't work well?
They're not nearly as good as this. No.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's because I learned on SolidWorks, and now I'm a
I don't
crotchety
know.
old man.
No.
So that was the small pulley. Now I need to find the big guy. I'm going to save him, and saving it in the platform. And of course, all of these files, if you look in the lower left-hand corner, because another user of this CAD workstation at Inventopia installed SolidWorks Student Edition, I am now infected. I am infecting everything in this project with the academic.
That was my original problem, if you can
Yeah.
remember
Yep.
when I first installed this.
Yeah.
Just wipe your hard drive now, man.
Yeah, we might have to just live with it. And actually, if we're willing to just live with it, that might be liberating, because then it would mean that we could bring people onto the CAD team who do have a student license, right? I mean, it might be that we just deal with it. It's not like, I mean, that is there to like shame people who are using a student license for commercial purposes. But we do legitimately have a license that we legitimately got from SolidWorks, right? So we're not scalping it, right? So morally, I feel okay if stuff is watermarked like that. None of us are paid for doing this, either. So anyway.
Wait, you're not being paid? I'm being paid.
Oh, you are? Okay. Can I be a subcontractor?
I mean, you haven't sent my check yet, but
I didn't know that's how this was working.
There have been misunderstandings.
We should have clarified that at the beginning. What part of slave labor did you not understand? So yeah, no, I am a fan of how SolidWorks does its mates. I'm gonna put that up. And actually, I just realized this shaft is gonna have to be. Oh, this isn't constrained at all. Beautiful. Oh, because I just did that in this assembly. I thought I was doing that in the paper pulling mechanism, which I'm going to close now. Discard and close. I'm also going to close. Well, we'll see. Just so that I don't make that mistake again. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let me change gears. You guys ready to change gears a little bit with me?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. So last week we did all this. And what I think I want to do is I want to...
Oh, there's a ton of blue lines.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were sketching, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to break this thing all apart. I think what I want to do is so this part up here, this is the soundboard that's actually doing the resonating, and it needs to be vibrationally isolated from the motor. So what I think I want to do is let me get this assembly. I'm going to open this subassembly first. I'm going to get this lined up, and I'm going to show you how I want to. I'm going to actually reopen it. I'm going to show you how I want to do the vibration isolation. But first, in this guy, I'm going to add a reference plane because the paper is 70 millimeters wide, and I want this to be 72 millimeters. I'm going to make a plane there, and then I'm going to give another plane in between those two, there. So that plane is the center line, or the mid plane. How come I can't rename it? Am I just not patient enough? There you go. All right, save that guy. And then Oh, wait for it to send to the server. And close it. Yes. Rebuild. So now this guy, I have this mid plane, and I'm going to mate it with the... like that. And because this music box we lined up right in on day one with the middle of the assembly, so now we're actually lined up that way. Okay, that's good. And we're also going to do, this is where the paper comes in, that plane right there, and we're going to have that be coincident with that. All right. So the papers, ooh, that's interesting. This is not fully constrained.
Hmm.
Now it is. All right, so now we just have to play with that distance.
So how do I get my David, you mentioned something about being able to view the drive in SolidWorks, so I wouldn't have to open files through the web browser.
Open. I'm sorry.
Browse the part library through SolidWorks and not the web app. Do you think that would be possible?
I'm a little bit confused what you're asking.
We have a set of files in the 3D space.
I get it.
For this
Okay.
project. Yeah.
Right. So not in 3D Drive, which we haven't solved yet. You're talking about within
3D space.
a
Yeah,
collaborative
sorry.
space.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you allowed SolidWorks to populate the collaborative space, like that's listed at the top right corner, all you have to do is use the open command, and it'll automatically go into your
okay.
collaborative
Yeah.
spaces
Oh,
to
right.
open
Yeah,
parts.
that's true. Great.
Yeah, and actually, if you're patient enough to wait for that collaborative space to load, your home screen also shows recent documents populated too.
Awesome.
Who would have
Yeah,
thought
I mean,
that
it just
David
works
is the patient one? I that's like the series finale. Shocker for me. Wait a minute, David's the patient one?
It's all a lie. It's a facade.
Fake news. All right. So the idea I have for this paper pulling mechanism here is that because we want to do vibration isolation, and I have dealt with let's go to McMaster. McMaster vibration mounts, sandwich mounts. These guys. So I've done these actually on some of my heavier drone frames. They ended up not being totally necessary. But also there was a laser processing machine that I designed a few years ago, and where if you bumped the machine, the galvanometer on the laser that was steering the laser doing the decoration of the machines, you would see it go out of whack. So I did vibration isolation, and I used basically these things.
So effective are they?
They were very effective. I don't know if they're going to be effective enough for this purposes, because we're only going to really know if you mount a motor and then do it. But the idea here is that we use some of these mounts, and then we have them located right here in between these two parts, top and back, and then we have one or two here, so that this module here is floating with respect to this main body. And then we also use the same mounts here. So this is isolated from this thing. This one's isolated from that thing. And even though it's not like the rubber, I mean, it is rubber, but it's not like the kind of suspension mechanism that Martin kind of made out using bolts and O-rings. I think that plus the fact that we're already going to start with a really quiet motor, I think is probably going to be more than enough vibration isolation for this project.
Is there going to be foam in between?
No, it'd just be these little standoffs, which are basically there's a threaded thing here, and then it's rubber, but there's basically a piece of metal on both sides, and they're both molded into the rubber. And so, you know,
I don't know. Rubber's fairly rigid. You think the vibrations wouldn't carry?
I mean, that's what these things are for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now I did it for vibration, reducing mechanical vibration, and I guess we are doing it from reducing mechanical vibration. But in the previous application, we weren't listening. I wasn't listening to a noise being isolated, right? We were looking for, the vibration to show up someplace else. So it might be that these aren't soft enough. But in terms of being able to design something with the fewest number possible of custom parts, this is simple, and we can just
it's just contact mics pick up. I mean, on contact, which could be. I mean, these aren't in the music industry, right? Because maybe there's something in the music industry that would be more. I don't know either. And this is one of my worries about this whole project is, I mean, we can't just design stuff in CAD and say, we're done. I mean, we have to test it to make sure it's going to be good. How are we going to handle that? Like, that's what's blowing my mind because, I mean, Martin's been testing the machine for 3.5 years or whatever. And it's just like, CAD's not going to solve anything.
Yeah.
As far as making sure it works.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that the and it's funny because I got an email from SolidWorks the other day. Even though we have SolidWorks, they still send us marketing email, saying eliminate physical prototypes. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. But certainly, I think you can take a few iterations away from a project.
Oh yeah.
Before you get to the physical prototyping thing.
No, and designing by committee, I think this is the best way to do it, honestly, because you could start with 2D, but you need to see things in 3D. That answers a lot of questions right there. Getting a bunch of eyes on it, that will be helpful too. But jumping from the virtual to the physical, hopefully we can cut out a few steps on the way there.
Right. Hey, does anybody remember if the durometer rating is lower is softer or lower is harder? I think lower is softer.
Lower is softer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I remember TPU 85A being softer than 95A.
Okay. So here, again, thinking we want maximum vibration resistance, right? It would make sense that the softer the material, the more vibration. So here, down on the McMaster car. By the way, I don't know why no one else in e-commerce has figured out how to do a website as good as McMaster Car has. It's been like McMaster's site has been like this for 10 years, and nobody else has ever come close.
I found this years ago. I used to live down the street from McMaster Car, which is crazy, and I found one of their places, and if there's more. And I found their website and it blew my mind. I was like, everyone needs to organize everything this way. It's so easy to find anything on the whole website. This is my vision for the Discord, which is non-possible, but
right.
I love it so much. All right. I've loved it for years.
So let's have a discussion. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
You guys remember? You guys know James Passmore?
Yeah.
He got a job working with McMaster Car recently.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. It's cool.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's the question, right? So the parts that I've this is the let's see how quickly we can piss off David Lewis. So this motor, right? This is a ClearPath servo motor.
And we were all not there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what was the last thing you heard me say?
Good friend of mine.
Oh, yeah, good friend of mine.
Okay. Not far back. Good friend of mine. He works. He had a robotics company of his own, educational robotics company. He's a master's level mechanical engineer, and he works for a robotics company that catches drones out of the air right now. Anyway, they use nothing but these ClearPath servos, and they're extremely quiet. And they're expensive compared to a stepper motor. Stepper motors you can get for like $20, but they're like the lowest cost is like in the low 200s, like 200 something, right? And if you look at like for an application like this, where it's for, if we're building this for Martin, right? Of course, Martin hasn't asked us to build this, but let's say we're practicing this, like the level of like, and if you looked at like how freaked out he was during that concert where he had like the music box, and then he had the backup computer, and then the backup computer to the backup computer, right? I do think that one of the design requirements we need to have for this project is this thing just works. It never doesn't work. He can be confident in this thing being bomb proof, right? I mean, I think that's like one of the main design requirements we have. So anyway,
yeah, making everything bomb proof would be awesome. Like if we can get specs for every single part like that, we'll be done.
Right. So I'm starting with the ClearPath servo as a given, right? Problem is that you make a decision like that, and now you're understanding that. Let me exit the sketch. These things only come with 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch output shafts. So okay, we have a 3/8. We have an imperial output.
I'm offended.
I know,
Yep.
aren't you offended? I mean, so that means
That's
that
disgusting.
we have now timing pulleys, right, that need to fit with those shafts, and those are going to
No.
be imperial, right? And then we're going to have a shaft in here. This is going to be a 1/4 inch shaft that's going to go through. So unless we want to make our own shaft, which we don't, then the rollers that go on this are also going to be imperial. And so you have this stack up, and it's because the starting materials you have are imperial. David and I have complained together, not in such a public setting, but have complained quite a bit about like, I really want to design metric. I want to live in a metric world, but it's really hard. You pay a price for trying to be committed to that. Yeah, and Kooky is talking about working on 90s car. By the way, the Ford F-150, the bed length of the Ford F-150 is metric. If you look at it, it's like, 5 point something. Yeah, it's exactly a 2 meter long bed. So there is hope. But one of the things that I don't like about this project already, but I'm willing to, I think, live with, is the fact that we're going to be building this thing using metric parts. David, can you forgive me for that?
I can. I also could tell you though that, I mean, and I've done this in the past myself, the bore of a sheave or a pulley is not set in stone. And actually you can buy sheaves or pulleys with
a machinable
what's called
bore.
the QD bushing.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
But
I've seen those.
So you can buy the bushing meant for the motor you want, and then you just put it on a QD bushing, and then you're interchangeable. So you don't have to be wed to it. There's like an interface between the two.
Right. But
I had to do that with a machine. I bought a horizontal milling machine back in 2014, and it was made in Italy in the 60s, and it was all metric, which, by the way, I was in hog heaven at the time because of it. But I had to replace some parts, and one of those was the output sheave from the motor. So it had a metric shaft, and the only way I could really do it was that QD bushing. And honestly, it worked out perfect in the end anyway. So I would just recommend it.
So should we change this? Because they do have ones. Here we go. Quick disconnect timing belt pulleys. We can do that.
That's what QD stands for. Sorry.
I actually didn't make that connection until you said it. So these are L series. All right. So
anyway, all I'm getting at is there are alternatives.
Yeah.
Don't give in to your despair.
Before we finalize our bomb, let's we'll reconsider that. We'll take that under advisement. Anyway, so the good news then, this is what led me to that question, which is that the vibration mounts are available in metric. So I was thinking like, okay, do we have all these things in the paper pulling mechanism and then switch to metric as soon as we're trying to, like at what point can we dump the imperial system and get into metric. And I think let's just leave the paper pulling mechanism as it is for the sake of the stream. I will, in the middle of the week, if I can figure out a way to start at the point with the timing belts, because the other thing is I'd love to use 8mm shafts, right? Because then we can use skateboard bearings for all those bearings rather than these. The bearings that I have in it are 1/4-inch ID bearings, and they're like $8 a piece, right? Anyway, I don't like paying a whole lot for bearings. So let's that'll be my homework, is trying to go metric with these drive pulleys, and we'll just start with, except that we're going to start with an Imperial motor, but then try to adapt from there.
Yeah, love it.
Okay. All right. You feel like your metric sensibilities are being catered to, David?
I do. I feel refreshed and valued as a contributing member.
Good.
You are valuable.
All right. So,
but I do have a
Kooky.
I do have a comment. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Are
you reading the chat too?
No.
Okay.
But I do have a caveat about the those rubber standoffs.
Yeah.
I have used those exact ones. I could even give you the part number if you want, from McMaster-Carr. And honestly, if you're mounting something heavy vertically, meaning like the bushings are holding, so they're fine. But if you mount them on the side, and then you put a load like on a belt pulling against them, I don't know if those are the right ones.
Yeah, so
I don't know if that's
let me
you have.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So yeah, because they're two pieces of metal and there's rubber in between. So if they're meant to be to vibrate this way, but not to be loaded in shear, right? So the idea here is that this guy here, that's the 3/4-inch plywood. We should probably, we already have 9mm of plywood here. We should probably figure out what the plywood that's available in Europe. No, because I don't know. We should probably figure out what the thicknesses that are available is.
Would it be made in Europe?
Well, so that's the question, right? I mean, if we hand this over to Martin, are we going to make it in the U.S. and give it to him as a gift, or are we going to surprise him with a set of blueprints and tell him, "Hey, Martin, build this"?
Yeah, he's not going to do that. I mean, he's got a million other things going on. I think if we're actually going to make this for real, we're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
And for phase 2, we're going to have to farm it out to whoever we can find, kind of like how Martin does. But I am not envisioning Martin building. Well, I don't know how this is going to go, but he's not going to be building multiple copies of the touring version himself. I'm imagining they're one, if these aren't going to be shipped, if they're not going to be crossing the ocean, maybe there'll be 2, one on the European continent, one of the North American, so someone else will have to be building it.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, we're not going to solve that issue today. But the idea, getting back to the idea of shear here, is that we have basically like 4 of those mounts here, so that by gravity they're in compression onto a tongue of, basically the bottom edge of this guy is sticking out to the bottom. And then we have a couple that are here just to stabilize it in the roll kind of, well, I guess from our perspective in the pitch axis, right? So let me just draw it. So I'm going to try to, how am I going to do this? I kind of feel like this thing isn't fixed, and I kind of feel like I want to project a geometry off of that, but I can't because it's not fixed.
Sure.
So do I just pick a location for that and just call it good? I think I probably should. Well, how should I constrain this?
That's a very good question.
I'm kind of thinking I just pick these 2 planes, and then just say, hey, that's a distance of 250 millimeters, and call it good.
Well, so I mean, this is where I would have built a skeleton first, and then
aren't we
constrain
supposed
it
to do
to
that?
Well, no, I mean, so I mean, yes, but the building the skeleton is something that you can do kind of once you've already figured out the design and made some design decisions, right? So I have this sketch here. I intend for this sketch that we were just working on to be the skeleton, right?
Right.
But
so what we're doing right now is really back of the napkin kind of just doodling.
yeah, I mean,
Right?
yeah, I think so. And you know what we said in the stream last week was like, I'm willing to walk away from everything we do here, right? It's this is meant to be an experiment for the sake of learning the platform for phase 2, right? Whether we actually ever
it's a
build this
learning
thing,
experiment.
yeah, it's exactly so.
A learning exercise for all that.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna grab how thick these things are. The height, the metric heights are. Look, metric chemical.
Usually have to go into the.
Look at this. Metric chemical resistant vibration damping mounted, blah, blah, blah. The height is given in inches.
Yeah. But
the threads are M6, but it's still 1 inch tall.
Well, I mean, there is such a thing as a metric inch. It's just
God.
that it's not.
I'm gonna metric barf on you for saying that. 1 inch.
Yeah, you can actually type that and it works fine.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you not to include inch specifications if you have to, because even if you're in MMGS, you can still input inch.
Yeah.
Right.
Or furlongs or chains or whatever.
Yeah.
I definitely want to work in furlongs. That's like.
Yeah. Have you heard about the FFF system?
No.
It's
the fender or fro thing.
No. It's the furlong Firkin Fortnite system.
There you go.
So length unit is furlong. Volume unit is Firkin.
Okay.
Which is something apparently, and yeah, and then a fortnight is the time, obviously.
I love it.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so you kind of see how this is the kind of mounting concept, right? Which is that we have these big vibration pads. We would have, oops, and I lost it. Good job, Tim. Good job, pro streamer, Tim. There'll be basically a shelf in this box. Have some vibration mounts. This thing will make this into basically a self-contained box, right? A powered module. We'll have the power come out of these connectors into here. That'll be a flexible connection. And there are 4 mounting points here, and then 1 or 2 here just to keep it from rolling off. And then we'd have the same, this gap here. So this is going to be 1 inch too now. So we'll use the same inch. No. I don't want to make a new global barrel. I tried to give it too much. So all of our vibration and isolation will be done with the same part number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Awesome.
And we're looking at the back of the music box right now, right?
We're looking at the side. So
no, I mean, which side faces the audience?
The side, right?
Probably like this side.
Yeah.
Well, because in the other one.
Sorry, let
in the other one.
Go ahead.
In his, he has the spinny wheel thing in the backside of, away from the audience.
Is that so?
I think so. I'll bring it up to look.
I think it was on the left side, but meh.
All right.
What? How so?
This is weird. How come
do you want to hide the motors behind so that they don't show to the audience, or?
I think the motors are ugly.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's not very nice to the motors.
Well, no. Now, here's a weird thing. Design history wise, I see that my my logo is in the way here.
Tim, your timeline is cringe.
It's Grinch.
It's cringe.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Yeah.
here's the question, and this is the cringe thing: is that this is my layout sketch, and it's downstream of the part that I just made.
Huh.
So I want to make a part based on this sketch, and now when I open this, I'm already editing that part.
So, right. So this is why I generally don't design in assemblies. It's kind of, you're tripping over yourself, really. Assembly. I mean, I made this argument in Fusion, and I was kind of outvoted. I get it, whatever. But the truth is, like, that's kind of how you have to roll if you want to design in assemblies. There's just it's not made for it.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna be. That's not how history works.
But I mean, but I did something wrong because I used to be able to make a layout sketch in an assembly.
You can. Absolutely. You have to activate the assembly. You're in a part right now.
Right. Okay, so what did I do? So if I have this sketch, here's the assembly. Because this, I mean, how is this sketch not in the assembly? It is in the assembly.
Yeah, it's right, but it comes after all your mates. It's yeah, it's hard to describe exactly why it's like that. But
so there used to be, and this was back when I was playing with SolidWorks 2011. There was a layout thing in the assembly.
Yeah, that's right. That used to be a feature.
And so I don't know if that went away or yeah, that's what I was trying to do here. And this is apropos for our intended path with the MMX, which is that we want to make a family of skeleton sketches, right? Which are our master sketches. So, David, if we were to start this over again, how do you do it so that you have a skeleton sketch?
Well, before you insert a part or create a new part or whatever, you would just start a sketch. It would stay at the top because there's no dependencies. Right now, sketch 1, it looks like it depends on other things because you've got
that's the master sketch. Or should we be doing a sketch in an assembly?
Well, so you can also do that where, the part at the top is the one that has all that in it. I mean, you can do that. That's not a crazy idea, actually.
Let's see. So let's make it a new assembly, right? New assembly. Okay. If we were to make a sketch now, and we're going to, I don't know why my planes don't show up by default. Right. Let's say we're doing this and
so Tim, if you were to go in your feature tree and if you want to turn your planes on and off, right next to the A in ADHD in that black box, you'll see that there's a little caret pointing right.
Yeah.
There you go. Now that allows you to turn those things on and off.
Oh, there you go. Cool. Pro tip.
Yeah. And you can turn on and off sketches that way too. Like any like thing that you're working on, you can visualize, or you can turn on visualization or off from that.
Okay.
And also you could make things transparent from there too, which is kind of cool. I like to work in surfaces transparent because then you can see through them.
Right. Okay, so let's say this is our music box layout, right? Where we have our soundboard, and now we have our box. This is kind of the way we drew it, right? And here is our paper pulling mechanism.
So that box at the top has an open side somehow. It's not showing gray. Not sure why. You must not have.
It's because this one needs to be, or I did something weird. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that because we're kind of doing this for, right? So I exit this sketch. Now this sketch is here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Assembly, insert components. Let's put let's put one of these timing belts into it. Okay, it's right there. Let's see where that shows up. Oh no, my sketch is above that now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that becomes your skeleton. That's the whole reason why you would have a skeleton.
You put it in there first, so it is above it.
But here's my question, right? So in this one, this guy, I made this sketch after we placed this box. Right? You guys watch. We developed this sketch last week, right? These three.
You must have had dependencies.
I was asleep.
Okay, I forgive you for that, Eric. By the way, the forgiveness is flowing on this side of the Atlantic. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, this thing was, I don't think I understand that, but we inserted this thing and then we made this sketch. So I don't know.
So do me a favor, right click that sketch, and then choose parent child.
Well, so that's another issue. Look at this is on the bug list.
How do you? I just did that exact same thing with the exact same thing in front of me, and I have it.
Well, let me.
Is your sketch open still?
No. So I have a feeling that happens because, so if I move SolidWorks to my other display, so I have a 1080p display on the left, which I'm streaming from, and then I have a much higher resolution. The primary display is on the right, and I can see the things in that thing when I have it in my primary display. But if I have it over here, I have an older 1080p monitor here because it's the same resolution as I'm streaming from. So I think that's it. It's a monitor resolution issue. And I think SolidWorks thinks that. I mean, maybe I should change the designation, right? Maybe I should have the computer think that this is monitor 1, and the other one is monitor 2, and maybe then SolidWorks would get better. But yeah, I can't do that. So okay, so you said let me do that offline then. So
can you do it?
Child?
You can do it another way.
Okay.
If you go to the menu view and then user interface, you can actually enable. You might have seen on some presentations the parent-child visualization lines. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Below it, there you go. One of those two. You can actually. It'll put arrows right in there.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything.
Well, because you haven't selected anything. You have to, if you grab that little tab and then move it. There you go. So that's what its dependencies are. So that sketch is dependent upon those two things above it.
Right. I see. So that's why it would really never let me do anything above that. It wouldn't let me. Got it. Okay, so pro tip.
Wow, parametric design.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I mean, there's okay. That's a cool feature. So we're not so far away that we can't just try to do it better the next time, right? So
I mean, you could always just redraw the same thing 5 times over.
Right. Are you guys groaning, looking at me wanting to just start everything over from scratch?
No. That's what I do on a regular basis.
Right.
No, it's good. I mean, that's part of the process.
Right.
Yep.
All right. So 300.
Part of the program.
Also, I'm spacing out researching acoustic vibration isolation for the music industry.
Did you take a look at the orientation of the music box on stage?
Yeah, so the way that we're looking at it is from behind, the opposite way. The big wheel is on the left when you're...
Okay.
No, the big wheel's on the right if you're in the audience, because the way that the trapdoor falls open, I mean, the door storing all the components is that way. That doesn't mean it has to be that way. It would be nice, I think, to have it be looking nice from either side, so that when you can pick which side of the stage you want to put it on, because there's a bit of arrangement when you're doing a stage show of like what looks nice. So that would be the most flexible solution. Just making sure that there's not some big ugly motor hanging out there would probably be my suggestion.
Who are you calling a big ugly motor?
I'm calling the thing that
yeah,
we put on the music box.
The idea here is, and I can't show you because I wasn't, it was that this is going to be entirely internal, that this motor will be in this mechanism down here.
Just making sure.
Yeah, and if you look at this thing, these the secondary plane that I made, right? You really just have this. Maybe this does have to stick out. These are cooling fins.
Okay.
So maybe it will be kind of slightly visible, but there'll definitely be a plate over here because this is all going to be a box. Right. This will get extruded from both sides.
What if it was open on the bottom? Would that be enough cooling, or would it have to be aligned with the fins?
Well, even if I don't know how much, because it's not like we're going to be really driving this motor. It's pulling paper, right? When I was looking at this, I'm like, oh, 1/4 inch seems like a really thin shaft for the.
How many Newton meters are those rated for?
More than we need.
Awesome.
And if you look, I had to remind myself because I was like, oh, I should use 3/8 instead of 1/4 inch shaft because the motor is available in both 3/8 and 1/4 inch. If you look at the 30-note music box, the built-in drive mechanism is that. It's like all we have to be is stronger than a 1.5 millimeter shaft with rubber rollers, and we're kind of the
nice.
we don't have to worry too much about being strong enough.
So is this motor overkill then? I mean, it's nice
Yep.
and it's really reliable, but can we simplify? It's never going to need to go fast. Ever.
Right.
Well, so we are picking this because of the silence, really.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's
and that's really important too.
Yes.
So.
It's like now there's the operative question, and I'm open to feedback from this, and there's another reason for doing a different motor than this, which is that the reason why these motors are silent is primarily because they're brushless motors. Right, Technic, the company that makes these, does some integrated stuff where they've like offset the laminations so that it's not as clunky. But the motor that they're using to drive the marble machine right now is also a brushless DC motor. So, servo motor is really just a brushless DC motor with an encoder and a drive. And these things are nice because they include all of those in one motor. That said, the thing that Sebastian is making for the motor on the MMX is basically the user interface that goes to a driver that goes to the motor that they're doing on the MMX. So parts of that chain are already being produced for the MMX, and they could be reused if we went for a smaller brushless motor. Right, so there is an argument to saying, okay, we'll go for a brushless motor, and then we'll have to, find an encoder for it, and find a speed controller for it. But other people on this same team are already going that direction. So.
And it would be nice if
Bye, Tim.
both
Hi, Andre.
the tiny music box and the large giant MMX music box were controlled the same way. Not necessarily from the same thing, but having the same controls means less user error and only one thing to learn. Yep. So that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Not necessary, but something to think about, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, Andre, how you doing, man?
Not too bad.
Silence.
And Eric, why does Andre showing up mean that you have to say goodbye to me?
No. Okay. Basically, my internet cut out for a second, and I thought that you cut out for the third time instead.
I mean, if you prefer Andre to me, you can say that. I'm not going to take it too personally, but I'm just.
He's the skeleton man.
Skeletor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm
Um,
redoing our entire thing, by the way.
Yeah, how are you doing on it?
Wait. Redoing it is good. I think that redoing leads to something. I don't know. Does it lead to good things? Probably.
just
Uh,
got
Hopefully.
here. So I don't know if you noticed, Tim, but I was shaking my head when you were talking about brushless motors as if I had any clue what you were talking about. I don't know any of this stuff. Don't explain it to me, it's fine, but I'm just
Magnets do
like, I've
fancy
heard
things.
of brushless motors before. Magnets, something about magnets.
Magnets.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
I mean,
Cool.
brush motors have magnets too. Just
Yeah.
Do brush motor magnets brush against each other?
There's a brush that is it's a graphite or carbon thing, and it's mechanically transmitting the power into the rotor, and they're really noisy because there's actually a physical connection, and as it drives things forward, then it connects to a different part of the winding, and then anyway, it's the old.
They're really noisy, but also have great torque.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, but when
Yeah,
you're
which
saying
we
that
don't
they're
need.
noisy, you're talking about like electrical noise because you can definitely get DC motors that are pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But the brushless motors, they basically have a circuit board which is changing which coil is energized at one time, so there's no mechanical.
Yeah. Okay,
anything.
so I do know what they are.
Yeah.
I hear about stuff and then I don't know what they're called, and yeah.
Right.
Have you ever looked into the vents of a hand drill and see a bunch of sparks inside it in the dark?
Those are the brushes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just came here. I know that I have this on the dashboard, but I needed this dimension, which is 18.9 millimeters. I need that for this layout sketch. That's the distance between this resonating board and
Our CNC routers spindles brushes always die, so I have to replace them
they're
constantly.
consumable. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, sorry to
And
interrupt.
I bet they get little metal bits in them too.
Oh wait, David, you're
I'm
so
planning on-
quiet.
Yeah, sorry. I'm planning on buying a CNC router. By the way, I think I've decided to do it.
Awesome.
If anybody has like any recommendations for like a brand or model, I'd like to know. I have my eyes on the Shapeoko, mainly for two reasons. One, they're local to Los Angeles, but also it seems like a really good combination of features, and the price is right.
I don't know.
How much space do you have for it, David?
I've only used a self-built one, so I don't know anything about
I
brands.
actually have I have a table from a laboratory from somewhere. I don't know. It's like 4 feet by 12 feet long or something crazy.
But don't you live in an apartment in Hollywood?
Dude, you don't even know how good I have it. I do, but right behind my building is a 4-bay garage, none of which are occupied by cars. And my housemate, who is he works for Google. Actually, he's a coder. Housemate. He's actually my neighbor. My landlord is his wife. But anyway, he has his office in one of them. The one after that is literally just like a workbench and almost nothing else. And then the next two are just freaking junk. And so he's like, dude, totally, you could set that shit up right there. I could have a full wood shop if I wanted to. I could put a Tormach in there if I wanted to. I'm not made of money, but I did just get my unemployment from last summer, like this morning. So it's burning a hole in my pocket.
All right, then. I was going to say, because I actually want to upgrade my... let's do this offline, but I might be willing to sell you mine if you have room for it. Because I have people in my incubator who want an 8-foot. I have a 4 foot by 4 foot. I have the same one that Martin has. But it's... they've changed the way they do the rails since I bought that, so I can't get an extension kit to make it into an 8-foot now. I have to completely replace all of the linear bearings. So anyway, let's chat about that offline.
Yeah, I would like to. Thank you.
So I need this dimension here, and it looks like I completely made up this dimension. 4.63. There's something about me when I see like, this is not an even number either in metric or in inches. It kind of makes me a little upset, and I don't know why I did that.
If it doesn't round off at like the micron, it's probably just bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that on my tombstone.
Well, obviously these constraints came from someplace. This is the layout sketch of that part.
Yep.
Oh, I know why
Is the
it's
tangent
weird.
to something? Isn't?
No, so this is a pro tip. So see this 2.50, right? That is driven from the center of this spindle, which is tangent to this guy, which is the so the origin is right where the paper will come through, right? So we have 3/4 inch, and this function right there, this is 2.5043. And the reason why that's a weird number is because I used a belt center center distance calculator. So SDP SI belt length calculator. So if you guys
I'm groaning too.
If you don't know about this, I want a 2-to-1 ratio. So to figure out like can I buy a belt that will fit to this size, right? I have metal timing pulley. One of them is going to be
cool.
15. This one's 30. It will give you, and I say, hey, I want the desired distance is 2.5 inches. It will give you the actual based on the part, and then you can show the parts that they carry.
Yeah.
So, it's yeah. I mean, for dealing with belts, it's like
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd have to do this iteratively. Now, of course, the and what problem is a lot of these, if you look at these, well, okay, they prove me wrong. But when I was looking at this before,
The squirrels.
the squirrels,
Ground squirrels.
Yeah, I don't know.
The ground squirrels chewing on your cable.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, this is a way. So I got that 2.503 based on how I filled this out, and I was actually paying attention to how I filled out these. Anyway, so that's why that number. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna let this dimension off the hook now for being a weird number because it's driven by a combination of this is a rational dimension away from the center of the stepper motor or the servo, and this number is derived by something else. So
Couldn't you use the path length dimension feature in SolidWorks to do this?
Yeah, but there's a calculator. I mean, the calculator is basically just doing that on its own. It just kind of knows how to do it.
You're using an external tool.
Yeah. Also, additionally to that, which I agree is probably not ideal if you have an alternative, but I don't know that I would select the center to center distance as an input. I think that should be your output. Like
you should get a center distance.
Your belt.
Yeah, you should say
center distance is the output, not.
Yeah, you should say I want a 200 millimeter belt, and I'm using these diameter pulleys.
Well, no, but that's what that calculator does. You say these are the two pulleys. I want it to be about 2.5 inches away, and it gives you a distance that will fit an off-the-shelf product, right?
Yes. Okay. What I was thinking is you pick an off-the-shelf product and you get a center distance for that.
Oh.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. I don't think that. I don't think what you said is that different than what I did.
No.
I'm gonna plead ignorance on that one.
No.
Why are there gaps between these parts?
Because you came late and we don't want to explain it to you again.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll just have fun
Isolation.
discovering it on my own.
Sound isolation.
Yeah, we're gonna do vibration isolation.
Yeah.
Sandwich mounts in here and here.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so now let's play with. I don't know how wide this thing is supposed to be. Hold on a second. We're adding one more dimension out of here, which is, oops, this dimension. 4 inches. I really hate that we're already like doing mixed units.
No, I love mixed units. Great, awesome. I love them.
All right, so now most of these guys are black. I actually don't care how. Actually, though, what I have this. Where is it? There it is. I have this open. So that is 70 millimeters. Not that this matters. All right.
Yeah, we're still not sure about how right those dimensions are.
Correct. So should I use what's a like 3/4 inch? This is a stupid dimension because you can't actually get exactly 3/4 inch plywood anywhere. It's going to be something else.
Well,
actually, the Baltic birch is metric anyway. Actually, I don't think Baltic birch plywood comes in imperial.
Yeah, no, each layer is 1 millimeter thick.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so then let's go back here.
But what is 3/4?
19 millimeters.
19. It's actually almost exactly.
Yeah, so you're gonna get 19
coincidence.
millimeter plywood or
Okay.
18 millimeter or whatever.
Good. Well, that means that then we can also, because Martin did test different thicknesses of plywood and liked how 9 millimeter. He mentions that in that video, right?
Yeah.
He likes that, so we can give him that.
wouldn't we want the rest of the box to be made out of something thinner than 3/4 inch?
Yeah.
Because that's real bulky.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. But the reason why I did 3/4 inch is because I think that's the thickest we can get, and because it's going to be supporting all the weight of this drive mechanism, and it's going to be cantilevered.
How heavy is that? How heavy is a ClearPath servo?
It's probably, I don't know. It's probably less than 1 kilogram, but it might be close.
I don't know. 3/4 inches seem a bit bulky.
ClearPath, NEMA 23 servo.
Especially if we're gonna try to fit. I mean, 3/4 inch plywood is heavy, and I mean, yeah, it's sturdy, but
I could settle for 9 millimeter.
and if we are going to continue with the idea of trying to put everything inside the box, it would be probably better to have thinner walls. Probably should be plywood though to match the MMX's aesthetic.
Yeah, the walls up in this part can definitely be thinner. I mean, I was just saying this can be like the
floor?
base, the floor of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's actually start building that. So now we have this layout sketch, even though it's not really, looks like they did away with that thing. We're going to do a new part. Unable to, I need to save this assembly. Save. Music box. Stream 2. Sending request to server. Random question. Who here has had a sea shanty stuck in their head this past week?
It's all about the sea shanties nowadays, isn't it?
I don't have TikTok, but I've heard about this.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched. I have never touched TikTok.
It's like you don't have to have TikTok, like, because it bled into everything else. So even if you don't have TikTok,
no, it didn't.
You end up watching TikTok because it
bled thanks into to people like you, Tim.
I actually,
bleeder.
You're a bleeder.
Actually, I haven't heard a sea shanty this entire year. Surprised.
Don't make him start playing it in the stream, man.
Tim, don't.
I'm not gonna do that, but I'm just letting you know I currently have a sea shanty in my head, and I have been suppressing the desire to break into song this entire time, and I do that for you.
We appreciate your dedication.
Yeah.
I appreciate your restraint.
Yeah. Keep using that restraint.
Yeah. All right. So
the only sea shanty I could possibly think of is like "Blow the Man Down." Isn't that the little children's one?
Probably.
Sure.
I think that's a sea shanty, although I don't know what a sea shanty is.
They're work songs.
It's like whaling songs.
Yeah, it's
songs
like
to sing while you're harvesting whales.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't usually sing while I whale, but you know, some to each his own.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
All right, so we are going to we're gonna extrude this guy. We're gonna do a mid plane. Oops. Where is this blind mid plane? There we go.
No,
Oh, it
Tim,
is a sea
stop.
shanty. I was right. Look at
I
that.
I'm starting to think about sea shanties.
You're welcome. How wide are? I have to. Oh, sorry, I need to grab another dimension. You know what? I'm just gonna add in a random dimension for now, and we're gonna say this is 100 millimeters wide.
So here in Sweden, during midsummer, we drink a lot.
Good.
And
drink a lot of what?
You have that in common with your American friends.
Booze. But yeah, especially during midsummer.
Fermented lingonberry jam.
You're very funny.
I'm sure there's some very nice lingonberry cocktails out there.
No, it's mostly just schnapps. But yeah, we have some snapsvisor, which is just schnapps shanties. I'm gonna have to teach you some of those one day.
You know, actually, our national anthem was originally
a drinking
bar
song.
song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was composed like in a tavern, wasn't it?
Wait, which one?
Well, the lyrics.
Star Spangled Banner.
The lyrics were composed on a battleship.
Oh right, yeah.
But yeah, the Star Spangled Banner was the tune of the Star Spangled Banner is a drinking song.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that sea shanty was from New Zealand around 1860, 1870. It's been around for a while.
Oh, the one that's currently invading TikTok and everywhere place else.
The Wellerman one that you linked to, yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. we're already losing people. Oh, and the stream has gone down to 5 people.
Ha! That is one big chunk of plywood.
Yeah, I mean, I reserve.
Why, especially you're 21 watching now.
I reserve the right to completely redimension everything.
No, so. I think he was joking.
I get it.
But yeah, that's looking good. Hey, Andre, I very much liked your adjustable screw design for the height module.
Yeah, I think a lot of people drew basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So maybe Martin will. Well, actually, what I hope is that he won't do anything and it will just work. So.
Yeah, I mean, let him do his relentless testing, mad scientist-esque thing.
Oh, it's just so frustrating to watch. Like,
yeah.
Seeing all these great ideas coming through Discord and then watching Martin pound. Like, did you see how sad he looked with that sad improvised song from the last daily video? Like, he was just like a beaten man.
He's been putting too many videos out. I can't keep track of this.
I know.
Yeah.
I just felt. I mean, that's why I'm prototyping this thing right now. One of the Marblegate ideas, because he just looked so sad.
Sigh.
Well, I mean, I think all of us, you know, so everyone who's involved with this project is mostly here because we want to help Martin, right?
Yeah.
And so there's something.
I'm in it for the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Sweet, dude.
That's like you guys know the movie Dodgeball? There's that guy who's like, I read obscure sports quarterly, you know, for the chicks. Like,
yeah.
Glad that's working out for you. All right, so here we, you know, we have a ship it, right? We're done.
A plank with a motor on it. Great.
Nice.
Awesome.
I mean, this is like what it would look like if you told me that you wanted it to be built in like 10 minutes. Just screw some things onto a plank. Let's go.
No, this is an aluminum part that's milled already, so we're already in that.
Yeah, this is so is that a standard bracket?
This thing?
Yeah.
No, this is totally custom. So you can see
Can we get a standard bracket?
No.
Why not?
Well, I tell you what, if you can find one, I will Venmo you $5.
I don't have Venmo.
Okay.
Bummer.
Oh, bummer. All right, then
Yeah,
bets off.
quick question: How are those slots? How are those little ledges going to happen?
So there's a part. Well, that's a good question. Let's get into this. All right, let's open
Yeah,
this.
Yorin says thick plywood, aluminum bracket. This thing is going to be heavy. That's what I'm saying.
is.
We got to reduce weight.
How
Don't you
thick is
think?
this? Like 4 millimeters?
Okay, here's the plan. You build this whole thing, then you cut holes in it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Make it arrow.
Yeah, drillium.
Yeah. Just use that algorithm where it creates like cell shapes of random shape
Voronoi.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do the same thing with the plywood too, with the milling out pockets. It's not
Yeah, make isogrid pockets.
Simplify and add lightness.
Yeah, that's Lotus's design philosophy. Simplify and add lightness.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's talk about these ledges.
Which ledges?
Well, you've got a part up there that's sliding on these ledges.
Yeah. So so the idea here is on this ledge that there's going to be another part that I haven't drawn yet that's going to hold this block in, and it's going to be basically stepped. So we'll be able to use a screw through here to force this thing down and create compression between the two sets of rubber rollers. And you can let up on that to the extent that you can still get the paper in there, but you can clamp it down to the point where it's going to have really good grip on the paper. That's the design intent, at least.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got 2 comments here. Max says to reduce weight, we should cut out the Wintergarten logo into the sides of the plywood, which could be the vent hole, partially. Mm-hmm. And Matthias says, calculate the stresses and use the option to reduce material when there is no or little stress. Right. And then Joran says, the motor can be way smaller. If you want to reduce weight, make the box out of 2 millimeter bent steel frame that should be strong enough. And put thin plywood on the sides for the aesthetics. So now we're going to be...
So that's another argument for the idea of not using this motor, right? Because this is the smallest that these ClearPath motors come in.
Oh, they don't come in Lima 17?
No, the 23 are smaller. So, that's kind of, we're kind of 2 strikes away already for this.
That's what I've been saying, man.
Yeah.
Smaller motor.
The smaller motor is fine. I've just made some assumptions for the sake of getting this thing, kind of...
I mean, we should also consider keeping costs down as well if we can. I mean... This is going to be coming out of our own pockets, I'm assuming, if we actually make this thing. So
I don't disagree. That said, if when you have competing design requirements, right? One might be let's keep it cost effective versus reliability. You want to spend the money on the reliability, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Don't go Chinesium.
I mean, there's definite things that we know that are the high priorities for Martin. So, like, reliability and sound, it has to sound good. That's probably number 1. This is for a band. So, like, if it doesn't sound good, it doesn't matter about reliability.
And it has to look cool.
Okay, I'm typing these out. Well, that's number 3.
Okay.
The practicality is way at the bottom.
We have a design requirements document that's in the platform.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
That was the first. That was the first thing.
All right, let me go over there.
And I made sure to include that because just as general practice, like whenever I start with a client that I'm developing stuff for, sometimes they're shocked. I'm like, oh, why don't you just start building it? Why do you want to have this long conversation with me about my design requirements? Just build it.
Right.
And if you don't
have right, then you build something wrong.
Right. Well, I have to educate my clients on that sometimes.
Yeah.
So that plane, this is going to be a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, Tim. Why don't you just already know what I want?
Right.
That's basically the notion of many clients.
Right. Well, honest. I mean, so it also happened with the Marble Machine, right? So when we did the project charter, I wrote up like, okay, we're going to completely defeature this thing so that we can have a full model. It can load in Fusion 360. You know, we can check the interferences, but we're going to do that by taking away features. And then Martin was surprised that we had taken away features. I'm like,
6 months later, he was like, "Wait, what?"
Pikachu face.
I copied it. I copied the project charter. He's like, oh, yeah, okay, you're right.
Surprised Pikachu face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks super ugly. What I just made here. This is disgusting. But anyway, I'm gonna let it slide for now.
It's okay. That motor's going anyways.
You're out to get that motor.
Yeah. So
this motor, specific motor dimensions in mind. Just don't worry about it. That motor's gonna be going.
Yeah. So I'm open to that. But what I want to do is, if anyone, and this is for anybody on the team who's watching on YouTube, if you can send me specs for a brushless motor that can get this job done with an encoder and a speed controller. I don't know what that product stack looks like. Right? I don't have any experience with that. I've dealt with industrial servos.
Wait, I'm typing this down. Brushless motor, what?
Speed controller.
Brushless motor
and an
with
encoder.
A good place to look for stuff like that. Maybe I just wondered if you'd already looked there.
Well, I've looked at them for like hardware and extruded aluminum pieces, never for electronic components.
Costs you a bunch.
Yeah, no. So I'm open to going that way, but we need to. If someone can help me develop a spec for what that motor and that kind of drivetrain stack looks like, then let's do that.
Okay, help develop specs.
Or help find the parts.
Okay. I mean, it's not a super tough requirements list.
Okay, is that you volunteering for
and
that then?
Okay,
No.
someone's saying, why do you need an encoder? Is that
To
for the
know,
speed control?
Yeah, take that, Eric.
An encoder just tells you how far it's gone, where it is currently.
Right.
So to keep the position.
So we're going to end up in the software that controls it. We're going to want to output because Martin is going to be thinking in terms of beats per minute, right? So we're going to want to have, and just like the thing that Sebastian's building, I'm pretty sure that he has done that. There's going to be a gear ratio, and how many output pulses of the controller translate into what BPM the machine is working at, and so the controller will do the microcontroller, the Arduino he's using will do that math, and it will tell the motor how fast to run. But the motor has to know how fast it's running. That's why it needs the encoder. All right, so
the alternative to that is just running it on open loop and assuming that the stepper is not going to skip any steps.
Yeah.
That is the way that most 3D printers work.
Right.
That's very true.
Well, so
Matthias says, look into RC car motors. Those are noisy, though.
RC car motors don't have encoders.
They don't have.
Nope.
I mean,
they just run.
I'm on board with that idea in general.
So
I thought it.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, it's dumb.
Unless we have a paper jam, it's not gonna skip steps. TBH. So we could easily just go with a NEMA 17.
Why does it say paper jam when there is no paper jam? That's what I want to know. Sorry, that's an Office Space reference. If you didn't.
I actually had a paper jam on our design just yesterday, but there wasn't one.
Did you take a baseball bat to it?
Basically,
I hear that's the only way to solve it.
You see, we actually pay more for paper than for ink now because we use pirate ink.
Like ink from pirates?
Yeah, no.
They're just saying sea shanties, surely, and then take their ink, which they're transporting massive amounts of. Makes sense.
No, but they're just giant, like 2-liter bottles of ink that we feed into the cartridges.
Okay.
And so the printer thinks it's just always full cartridges.
Oh, right.
So it never complains.
Yeah. Yorin's ink made from octopus by pirates. It wasn't one of the the Pirates of the Caribbean bad guys and octopus also?
And more like a
Well,
kraken.
He had, tentacles on his face, but he wasn't necessarily.
Do you think he could ink though, or is that a personal pirate question?
That's up to him to answer.
All right, where did I make this part? This part is in. Oh, I made a new part for the paper pulling mechanism, but I made it outside of that subassembly.
Nice.
These are the kind of things that we will punish people for doing later.
Yes, classic. Making it in the wrong level of the assembly.
Yeah.
If I had a quarter every time I did that.
Yeah, you keep putting your Andre files. You keep putting them like not in the buckets.
Yeah. I put them right next to the other files that I copied.
Yeah.
Usually.
Again, you guys are witnessing why I love assemblies in SolidWorks.
Yeah.
So these two holes here, I'm going to put this here just for the sake of doing it. But I love, by the way, that I can just pull out new iterations of a part by dragging it onto the workspace. Love that.
You can do that in Fusion.
You can
just choose version.
Well, no, because you're just dragging copies of the same part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
I had this idea. The reason I made this radius here is because this is where the paper is exiting and it's going to fall off. And I was thinking maybe we'd want like a 3D printed, kind of like a guide for it. But I don't think that the paper would ever go past this standoff and then somehow fall in.
The paper is stiff enough that it's going to go straight for a little while before curving down. It's not typing paper. It's a thin cardstock. I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
All right. Let's see if it can figure out. There we go. Music box. Where's my music box? 30 note box placeholder. So here's a question. Difference between physical product and CAD family. We have two different, it's the same part.
We don't know.
So you can actually deselect that, by the way. Below that, in quick filter, you could just eliminate CAD family. I think it's just a hierarchical thing. It's probably just going to select the product anyway, but you can eliminate that from the list.
Oh, there you go. Okay, good. Nice.
No, yeah. What we guessed on last time we discussed this, what's that like? CAD family is probably like for usage in other apps other than SolidWorks.
Oh.
So like if you want to,
I think I watched it. It's like CAD family means it's the CAD, and the physical project means that's the CAM, right?
That would make sense, except the problem is that it always generates the other type of file, even if I didn't tell it how to cam it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, maybe it's just assuming you're going to make it and just being helpful.
Yeah,
I've got it on the question list now.
Yeah.
Hey, so we can already see, by the way, that my paper pulling mechanism is over here. It's not as wide as, so this box here, I made that, however wide I made it. The music box is already wider than this mechanism for scale. So, and if you look at, let's find the images of the, let's do this. Files and media, this 3D space. How wide, we need to find a measurement for how wide the actual original box was. I don't think we got that dimension.
Put in a measurement request.
No, that's a task for the team members to try and figure out.
Right, so this has some, and actually, you know what? This is an interesting question. What the hell are these things here for?
Wow, look at those rubber bands.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the vibration isolation.
Yeah.
That's a clamp. That's to clamp. He doesn't.
Yeah.
That's to clamp the music box in there.
So there might be a design requirement that we've missed. right? Which is, it looks like he wants to be able to quickly clamp the music box in and out.
Maybe to repair it if it breaks during a show.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
what if he wants to? Wait. It's so that you can replace it with a different music box if you want different like tuning.
Are there multiple?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just made that up.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah, only that I've been looking at different sources for these things, and there's really one source, and they don't come in different tunings, or at least that I've seen.
You can order custom made ones, which I wouldn't
Do
put
they,
Cass Martin doing.
Maybe they come in different octaves?
You can set, if you get a custom one, you can set any keys you want. You can have duplicates of the same, so you can do faster notes. You can do anything.
Okay.
Pog.
Okay.
They make custom, or at least they make custom combs. Maybe he has a number of these same, little units, and just has a different comb for each one. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Well, he has a song name written right on it in marker, or whatever that's called. It says "All Was Well."
Oh yeah. There you go.
So let's try to find. I don't know. I need to find some kind of dimensional reference for that, or we'll just make it up.
Or you can just visit 3D Content Central or GrabCAD.
Oh, and search for a music box Winter Garden.
Really, what we want is the paper width. If we know the paper width, we should be able to figure it out.
I want.
Oh no,
you
you
mean the paper is 70 millimeters. I want the width of the entire box.
Yeah, I thought you meant the width of the music playing.
Yeah,
we're crowdsourcing that. I don't know if I'm gonna put that for the team task. What are the dimensions of the?
So
somebody kidnapped the music box.
Yeah. So this whole thing is assuming that these dimensions that are on the Amazon link for the music box thing are correct. We're just going to assume
right.
So that's 108 millimeters by itself, and if we go to this thing, if that's 108 millimeters, I'm going to say this thing is 200 millimeters, 150 millimeters wide. Yes? No?
Don't look at me. Okay. Don't look at me.
That does look reasonable. If you said that the whole device is.
Well, here's what we can do. We know the size of that mic. We have the CAD model for it.
Oh.
And we could try, because it's sitting right on that image, and we can try and estimate how wide it is by mic measurements.
Well, look at that, right? So I just made it so that this is 300 millimeters wide.
Using a micrometer?
No, sorry. Ooh, yeah, that's I know places where you get put out to sea on a little skiff by yourself, but for saying stuff like that.
Andre would have been sent to sea years ago. Just preemptively for all the wisecracks in our
So that's 150. So I don't think that there's room right here for a clamp on this side. So I'm gonna go, if that's 150 millimeters, I'm gonna go to 200.
Sounds good. Okay, here's my question: is a hair dryer a brush motor?
Probably.
Like, the handheld ones that are super loud.
Well, those are loud because there's a fan in there. That looks too big.
It's a motor too, though.
Yeah, the cheapest.
Yeah, they're probably brush motors. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've looked in the vents of one of those and seen sparks.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
That makes sense.
All right, then I know what it is.
Okay.
Of course, now I got to Wikipedia it.
175. And by the way, if that's the width of this thing, Maureen, you no longer have to feel like you have to hate on this motor for being ugly, because it's totally going to be internal to the box.
That's what I was hoping.
Cool.
Okay.
Are those little hedgehog spikes going to stick out though?
The smaller, lighter weight version of that motor, right?
No, whatever. But although I did design this mechanism thinking that this was also flush with the left side of the box. And if the box is that wide, this can't be because, this gap is constrained by this is 72 millimeters in between here and here.
So the
Right,
motor
'cause
has
that's the
plenty of space for the fan to blow air inside the box. If the pulleys are sticking out the side of that expanded box, yeah.
Yeah. Although we don't want a fan because that's more mechanical noise.
I'm sorry, the fins. What am I
The
saying?
fins. Yeah.
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 Sorry, I'm looking up hair dryers.
Obviously. And actually, what that means then is that this whole lower part of this plate is not necessary. I could put another standoff up here and just have this thing, well, we'll see. That design could change quite a bit. We're going to do a new part, and it's going to be called the soundboard. And that's going to be... I almost started singing a shanty right there.
Oh my gosh, the 60s had some weird old hair dryer options. All right, I'm done.
My mom told me when she was a kid, shampoo came in glass bottles.
Ew, really?
Ooh.
Wow, dude, you're gonna drop that thing in the shower and then have broken glass everywhere.
Well, I think they didn't shower really. I think that's
yeah. It does make it easier.
Like when you're bathing in the creek bed, I think that you're 100. You know.
What about like powdered shampoo, like dishwashing powder? You can get that kind too.
So when I was a kid, I had powdered bubble bath, and it was
when you were a kid.
When I was a kid.
When Tim was kid.
When Tim was kid, there was I still remember the bubble, the pink bubble guy on the front of the box.
Mr. Bubble.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay. See, I'm not crazy. Yeah, he was, and it was actually some of the best bubble bath. It would make huge amounts of bubble, and it was like this powdered soap.
I don't want to know how much caffeine I have consumed today. But I was just reflecting on it.
All right, so
speaking of that, I should drink my second coffee.
Should I just go ahead and make this thinner?
So I've had one quadruple espresso.
Make it happen.
You're a maniac, dude.
Another triple espresso. 2 vanilla lattes.
Jesus. Isn't it the middle of the night over there?
Nah, it's only like 10 to midnight. And then I'm currently just finishing a cup of black coffee.
So do you do an all-nighter every weekend?
No.
All right.
Only when I have do assignments, and which is like every weekend. So
Right.
So almost every weekend.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go ahead.
Where are you, in Malmö?
No.
Hey,
huvudstaden. Stockholm.
All right, so I'm gonna.
Why'd you guess Malmö?
It's the only other city I know.
Nice. Okay.
Should
we have lots of towns?
Should we finger joint these
I've
parts?
never been to Sweden.
What was that?
Should we finger
I don't know what that means.
Should we make these finger jointed? Like the joinery, but because I want to draw the left side of the box, right? And so the question is, do we? Let me just. I'm gonna get out of here.
Here's the question.
I go whole hog and just dovetail it, man.
What do we want to do? Dovetail it.
Yeah.
No. What we it's gonna match the MMX. So
no finger joints.
Well, is the that's a good question.
You gotta put
biscuit joint. I'm thinking
there are no finger joints on the MMX.
Okay, so I had an idea. What if, this is going to need legs, right? What if we made base frame type legs for this to go on? And
of the same caliber?
And then it just sits inside there. Maybe we won't even see the lower joint.
Well, I was thinking that you'd have like a pedestal that it goes on. Right? If we look at this guy.
No, don't you think the legs... Oh, that's not going to be transportable. What is it on there? Is that on a single pole? I think it's
on like a single pole. Yeah.
It's on a mic stand.
It might be.
Nice.
It might be.
I bet it is. The question is, what are we gonna do in the remaining 8 minutes of the stream? Because
What are you
it's already
talking
been
about,
2
Maureen?
hours.
That went really fast, by the way.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it did. It did.
It did. So, what are we gonna do? That's a good question. So,
Biscuit joinery.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, okay. So there are no dovetail
Rabbit.
joints.
Go.
Floating tenons.
Floating tenons. Butt joint and staple.
Glue.
Glue.
Hot glue.
You could
No,
probably
what's
use-
the stuff he's always using?
Washers.
Loctite. Loctite it.
Loctite. Is there a Loctite product for wood, and can we use it?
Yeah, it's known
I'm
as
looking it up. Here
yeah,
we
it's known
go.
as-
So Loctite makes a bunch of adhesives, and there probably is.
It's known as
Can we
wood
just
glue.
like cast the whole thing like out of Loctite, like just make a form?
Ooh. See, I like
In
your
washers,
thinking.
just washers embedded in like a
Oh,
transparent Loctite resin.
oh, what is that? Wait, what's the English name for that? Hold on. I love the orb.
Loctite wood adhesive. PL.
Okay, so what if we made like a Loctite washer aspic?
Yeah, aspic.
Yeah.
I
So-
have no
Resin?
idea what that
Or are
is.
you talking actual Jello? That might help dampen some
not Jello.
vibrations.
Not Jello.
Gelatin.
Loctite.
Aspic is gelatin.
Yeah, no, we use Loctite instead.
Oh, aspic. That's the stuff that my mom used to make, and I hated it.
Aspic is just a savory Jello dish. That's all. It's made
You
with
ever
gelatin.
had fermented herring in Jello?
That
Oh,
sounds
God.
good.
No.
That's. Oh.
Yeah.
Like.
That
I'm
used to
gonna
be
need
big,
you to
like-
send me some, Eric. Like, I really want to try it.
Yeah, I most postal services or like shipping
know.
agents, they won't ship fermented herring.
I mean,
Alright,
that's
well,
the
we'll
only
wait
thing I
till
know that
Pierre
fermented
came to
herring
it
is
then.
inside.
You know that something really tragic happened if they like already have that policy. You know, just like when you see like there's a law about like what are the fire codes in this place. You know, you normally
Yeah,
know
it's
like,
like, all right, we
somebody
won't ship,
died.
flammable
No,
liquids,
it's-
explosives, fermented herring. Like,
No, the thing is
every law is because someone did that at some
fermented herring can explode. That's it.
point.
From the
Oh.
pressure. And then,
as long as you put it into a suitable pressure vessel, I think it should be
No.
safe.
not even double bagging it is gonna
I'm
save
talking
you.
about like those things that compressed air is shipped in. Like, you got to put it into these giant metal.
Oh, so it's
Just put it in one of those
Oh,
cases we
so-
were talking about last time. What are those cases called?
Pelican case.
Yeah, just have it in its own little foam thing and then
Yeah.
wrap the foam in a plastic bag so nothing can get out.
That makes
There you
tons of sense. I mean, pelicans eat fish already, so they're like ready.
You know, it actually ferments in their lower jaw, so it's perfect.
Mm.
Oh,
Perfect,
nice.
yeah.
Like little.
I mean, have you
Okay.
ever
Are you-
smelled a pelican? Like, seriously?
Have
No,
you?
I have never smelled a pelican. Actually,
I mean,
But you
not
should
on
try it
purpose,
sometime.
but, at the zoo, it's
we don't
just,
have pelicans here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
We have seagulls.
Yeah. Forget smells like Teen Spirit. Maureen grew up with smells like Pelican.
It smells like Peloton jaw.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
All right. So that said, okay. So we have 4 minutes. So we are at a place
Uh-huh.
where we have completely redone this assembly, right? Because we had a dependency in the sketch. Let's see. Is my sketch still up at my layout sketch still up at the top?
Jorn said there's red in the design tree. Uh-oh.
There is. There is. I can fix it though. I think I fixed it.
Well, unfortunately, your logo is covering half the design tree, so I can't really see under it.
Yeah, it's great. I can't see any problems. It's perfect. Ship it.
Yeah. Ship it.
There you go.
So there was, because I changed one of the sketches when I rebuilt this part here. I subtracted the 12 millimeters for the top plate. So I figured that this plate should be on top of this, and this one should be on top of that. That way we could have fasteners coming from here into this, and there's no visible fasteners.
And then
on
we
the
get
side.
a nice plywood edge, because we need to see a plywood edge on there if it's
Yeah.
matching the MMX.
Yeah, we'll have plywood edges
So-
for sure there.
So in this assembly, Tim, You have your first component is whatever that number is, the corrosion resistance, whatever. You see the F next to the graduation cap
Fixed.
in its
Yep.
title?
Yep.
Yeah, so that means that it's grounded in Fusion terms. And the ones that are with a dash are not. So those you could actually drag around. They're not grounded at all.
But
They're
this
not
one
mated.
also
But
can be deleted.
I'm concerned about the ones that don't have either one. I don't think I've ever seen that before in an assembly where the parts aren't either floating or fixed.
Well, they're fully constrained,
Does
right?
anyone else know what?
So I spoke too soon.
Yoren says the dash is underdefined.
No, and he's right. It is underdefined. It's the ones that have no symbol whatsoever that nothing is fully defined, which is good. What do you mean by fully? Oh, so but in terms of
this dash right here, you're saying, yeah, these ones
but it's
are
in terms of the
rotational,
mates.
so it doesn't really matter if that's defined or not. That's the.
No, I get it. I'm used to only seeing either fixed or floating, and it's fixed if it has an F, and it's floating if it has a dash.
Right.
I've never seen them without either one.
Yeah. Well, if it's fully constrained, it's like that, right? So
wait, how would you constrain that circle? Because you clicked on the circle to mate it, and that makes it rotate. But how would you do it if you didn't want it to rotate?
You'd probably just fix it, unless you could give it some sort of angular thing. I don't have a feature on this that I could use to give it. Well, actually, no. What I would do is I would open up use the planes of it. Oops, that's not the right part. Let's find this part.
Yeah, mate the planes.
Yep.
So Yoren is saying F means fixed, which goes against most rules because it's basically a dirty way of not wanting to properly define something.
Right.
No,
yeah, it's just like in a sketch.
I try not to use fixed at all.
Oh, but if you have your first component should be fixed, otherwise everything can move around.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and that's why that other one was fixed, is because I dragged that part in, but I deleted it because I was just doing that for a lark.
Okay, so now you did that plate standoff, so it doesn't have the dash, right?
Yeah. Well, so here that standoff should this particular one should now be told. Yep, there's no dash. But I added a mate that doesn't really help the model, so I'm okay with living with the dash.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I did that by grabbing the plane and then making it parallel to a assembly plane.
Yeah, I realize now that I just had a memory fart. Joran was right. That's what not having an F or a dash means. It's just it's defined by its mates. But it's interesting.
And he also said you can lock the rotation, right click on the concentric mate.
Yeah, you can do that. That's true.
He said first component mate the origin to the origin of the assembly.
Got it.
Tim, you know what is fueling your sea shanty craze partially?
This game is fixing it though, isn't it?
What? Lutefisk?
It's no. But you're working in the software where there's a lot of talk about mates.
Yeah. You guys know what the pirate's favorite letter is, right?
That one was too close to you saying R, dude.
Oh, well, it's not R. It's 'tis the sea.
Yes.
Thank you. Should we end there?
Yeah, I think so.
When is Tuck Like a Pirate Day? Does anyone know?
I think it's September 29th, actually.
Why was the pirate movie not PG-13?
Was it?
Why?
I stopped watching after the second one.
It was R-rated.
All right, so let's talk about what's going to happen between now and when we're talking about this next week, because we're trying to keep other MMX team topics on topic with actually working on phase 1 of the MMX, right? So, I am of a mind. These plates, I'm of a mind that this motor. I don't know. Well, I need his opinion. If we do this way, right, where this left plane is also the motor mount, right? It's guiding the paper and it's also the motor mount. Then this belt is going to be inside this wall, right? We're going to end up extending this wall over it and hiding it. And I think the belt needs to be external to the machine for maintenance
Why?
purposes.
Okay.
Right. So I'm considering whether or not this upper part of this plate should be intrinsically coupled with the motor mount. It could be that the motor needs to couple itself to in line with this plane, separate part, still vibrationally isolated, and then we should just have a shaft that comes out of here and is longer. I don't know. Thoughts there?
Well, so we're using a belt so that you can change the tension of the paper, right?
Yeah, it's a gear reduction. It's for gear reduction and for
gear reduction.
Yeah, and the other, if you wanted to do a direct drive, then the motor would be sticking out off the side, way the heck out here. So it's a 2-to-1. It's a 2-to-1 gear reduction, and it gets it more compact. And the original design also had, well, it was a chain.
But putting a gear, see, like if we put a 2-to-1 gear reduction, that means then this would have some nice pretty gears on the front, all plywood MMX style, and I like that.
Yeah.
Because the belts, it seems like overkill, a little bit to me.
Tim, you know what?
Yeah.
I have. Oh, right. I do have the paid version of Matthias Wandel's gear generator, as you know. If we want to say to true MMX fashion, we don't use metric gears. We use those gears because that's what the MMX uses.
Yeah. I mean, that's... Oh, man.
We have the full beauty of like SolidWorks, whatever. You can just
you don't
gear.
No, actually we don't have we don't have that.
We don't have that. Yeah.
Look,
yeah, but you can you can do a function. You could.
So if the chain that was driving is external, I'm looking at this screenshot, and that's on the front of the box, and you can see it, and it's really ugly.
Actually, let me download that.
That's all original Marble Machine ugliness. We need some Wilson gears on there.
Well, I mean, I very much do appreciate the point, and I'm very tempted by that. The gears are going to be sloppier than the belt, right? And I was okay with the
Doesn't matter
because the MMX has a belt, has several belts, right? So I was okay with the belt for that, and I like that better than the chain. But I have to admit the temptation to use wooden gears for aesthetic purposes is really, really big. Like that just seems like the right call from an aesthetic perspective.
Yeah. I think one thing that I want to emphasize in this design is that what we're doing here is we're doing like what the MMX could be. We're not just trying to copy the MMX. We're trying to make a better version, right? Because this is like a practice for phase 2. Yeah. So like if we're looking at something and we're like, oh, the MMX has this, so we should put it in. It's like no, we should only put it in if it's really good, and if we're going to make an awesome version of that feature and put it on there.
Yeah.
So like just having chains on the outside only because the MMX has them, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, well, if the gears make sense, I'm just thinking of reducing, like belts to me seem sketchier than gears. Maybe they're not, but it's having a separate arm that has to be positioned properly. We could possibly do it with weighted rollers. That may be enough. If the roller on the bottom is being driven by the gears or whatever, and that's the one that's rubber, and then on top is something that you could spring tension weight, then
well, no, that's exactly what this design is I have a small gear here, a bigger, and then this is the driven one, and then the top one is going to be an idler.
Okay, but so you got rid of the design that had the arm off to the side?
Yes, I did.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. That's what I'm reacting to.
Yeah.
Here. Okay.
Yeah, I walked away from that because this, I mean, and that was in the thread on Discord in midweek. This is just the simplest way to do it, I think. But here's the question: if we could use gears, right? Part of me doesn't like the wooden gear thing because it's not that precise, right? And if we were to do gears, like we probably will be doing gears, on the touring version of the MMX, how would we do those gears?
I mean, in what way are you concerned about the precision?
Well, like plywood, right? Plywood is soft.
It's
not
over
that
time.
durable. Over time, it's going to wear down. Like I had
And
thought,
it can absorb moisture and possibly swell and just over time become unplied. You know, there's a million issues.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument for saying, like, on the touring version of the MMX, we could make segments. You know, you couldn't make it out of one sheet, but you could make segments and then put them together of Delrin gear teeth for the MMX.
Let's use magnet gears. Oh. I think those are so cool.
Right. I'm just going to ignore the fact that you said that, Maureen.
Yeah, I
know. But anyway, so I mean, we could play with that here. A Delrin gear that is going to be a little bit more durable, is something that we can machine ourselves. That's an option. I do like the idea of gears. I don't know if one of the requirements for this thing though is it needs to pull the paper at a very steady rate, right? You don't want if it's surging at all like that, you're going to hear it in the notes.
Yeah. Well, I think also I lost a Wilson.
No.
One of the
Wilson.
I think, for something like this, which isn't going to be running as much as the MMX, possibly, or maybe it is, I don't know. It certainly isn't as complicated as the MMX. Like, we could swap out a gear fairly easily on this thing.
Yeah. So Kooky in the chat is asking about a helical gear, and those. I mean, I've some of us here probably have experience with like the old style. What was the name of that extruder? Anyway, for 3D printers, they're like the print your own hot ends.
Greg's Wade extruder.
Yeah, there you go. They had they had 3D printed gears, and they were not just helical, but they were herringbone.
Yeah, you got to do herringbone gears, and then you got to like kick yourself when you're trying to assemble them because it's impossible.
But the thing is, it is possible, right? And I think you could also probably buy those that are molded.
Well, what I wanted to say about the wooden teeth is that I think, Martin was doing a lot of experimenting when he started out, and from looking at the photo reference, the gear teeth are a lot of different shapes. And if we came up with, using the gear generator from Matthias Vandal, we could probably find something that was tighter than the MMX. I mean, it's not going to really solve the wear issues or the other issues with plywood, but there might not be so much slop.
The geometry I'm okay with. I do care about the wear, and I think what I care most about is slop.
So here's a question.
Take a look at this modern piece of software.
Are you doing the gear generator?
Yes.
So the gear generator.
I paid for this.
Gears are just cosmetic gears, just FYI. They're not. They're things that
they're
look
not
like
real
gears.
Yeah,
Involutes.
Yeah, they're not actually involutes.
So here's a question: are more teeth less sloppy? It's more smaller teeth.
Yeah. In general, like the 3D printer extruder gears had very fine teeth, and they meshed.
Very fine teeth on both sides.
I mean, if we scale down the programming wheel to be sized to the music box, would that? I don't know.
Well,
oh no, these are imperial gears with like
that's the other part.
Diametral pitch.
If you only knew the conversation I had with Matthias Vandal, oh my god!
Bruh.
I asked him why he didn't have a module, and it was
he didn't know what it was.
Yeah, he didn't even know what a module was. It was pretty interesting, to say the least, to have this conversation. I mean, he actually he went from being like a complete stranger on the internet to like a mortal enemy of mine within like about 5 minutes. It was just the weirdest thing
Those
ever.
things don't have to be like different, right?
I still think it's funny that you just called him. You know, like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, that's sweet.
Okay, so
I have
back
a
to
possible suggestion. So one thing is, if you make a plastic gear, it can have zero slop because you just smash the gear teeth in there, and you won't hear the noise of it hitting because it's plastic, right? That's the whole point of using Delrin. We could do that, and then we could put a plywood veneer on the side of it.
that just makes my heart hurt. Also, now I'm realizing, we are making this to match the MMXT, right? Not the studio one. Or are we
That's what
making
I'm
a studio
saying.
one and
Yeah.
then upgrading that? Like, are we making him a studio one for, like, a present? So the MMX can have a baby. And then, yeah, I don't know.
That Marvel machine had a child.
No, I think that's the right way to think about it. It's gonna be the MMXT version, and so
Yeah, now that
we
I'm thinking
don't
about
have
it.
to use the
And we
same
don't-
gears or anything.
And we don't have to use the same design aesthetic because we don't have any idea. I think as an exercise, like for ourselves, I think it would be neat to try to take this music box and make it look like the Studio MMX, just as an exercise, whether or not it ever gets made. I think that would be fun to try and restrict ourselves to those parameters and see what we come up with. That's just me, though.
What the heck? Why would you make it wobbly?
I don't know. I just have that option.
Okay,
I paid $26 for this.
We gotta end this meeting. That's great. So let's end the meeting. So we've got here's my list for tasks for the team members for this week to help with, if anybody wants to and has time and is excited. The first one is help develop specs for, or just go ahead and find a brushless motor that's smaller, needs all the crap we already talked about.
Yep.
We need someone to dimension stuff for us, dimensions of the plywood box. Might as well dimension the whole thing, like the big wheel, just so we have those to start with. And then the third thing is, well, you just had the question if the left plane is the motor mount, the belt would be inside the wall. Should it be external? Do you want like a pole? Should the belt be external, or were you just talking about that in the moment?
If people want to come up with ideas for how these components get oriented, because right now, I mean, the way I just extended these walls, and right now this whole ugly mechanical paper, I mean, this is not actually that dissimilar for how the original Marvel machine, the original music box, had this Lego module, right? That kind of flipped onto it.
Yeah.
Here, I have this aluminum module that has these standoffs, and it can just sit into the machine. We can put it in there, fasten it, and it works.
Okay, how about this? Thoughts?
But you're not going to be able to get in here to play with this belt or tension this motor without taking the whole thing out, which might be okay. Anyway, let's see.
Okay, so thoughts on belt versus gears.
Belt versus gears. Thoughts about how
internal or external belt.
Yeah, and how this module gets mounted. I'm actually kind of liking what's happening here at the moment. But okay. Yeah.
So that's good for this week for giving some challenges to the team.
Yep.
Okay.
Love it.
Cool.
Ship it.
All right,
Ship
guys.
the task assignments for the week.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Wait, I'm checking the chat one more time. All right. There was a horrible pun earlier up in the in the chat from Arth Grell that I'm not gonna say out loud because it was that bad.
Let me read it up out loud.
He's got an orange logo with an A in it. I'm sorry, orange little icon.
Smells like Tim's spirit. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody watching. Yorn and Cookie and Arth and everybody else. Appreciate you guys being here. We have more viewers this week.
Yeah, we had.
Who is doing that?
I am
muting you. I am muting David. David, you are muted.
Is he singing a shanty?
No, this is sea shanty.
That's a good good thing to go out on.
Yar! I'm unmuting you, David, if you behave.
Hey, Tim, I see your Ultimaker 2 Plus in the background there.
All right, you guys can talk about that off stream.
No, that's an Ultimaker 3,
That's
actually.
a 3. I actually have an S5,
Yeah.
which is on the other side. That's not even my favorite one. And I have
All right, bye, everybody.
All right,
Okay,
bye, everybody.
See you next week.